Hello everyone and welcome back to the Game Room. This is Michael with yet another showcase / review. And the game we're looking at today is the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection on both the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now the game I'm playing within the collection is Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. And the reason I'm showing you this one, I'll show you a little bit of the other one as well. This one has quite a lot of explaining to do. Now, as usual, like I say in all of my videos, if you've never played any of the 3D versions of the Ninja Gaiden franchise before, you need to try them. Of course, provided you like action games and fighting and hacking and slashing, you're going to love these. Yes, it's rather brutal, visceral combat, isn't it? Very accurate, very technical, and extremely satisfying. But you wish you could run on water the way he does. Absolutely amazing, isn't it? That's the beauty of video games. You can do pretty much anything you like. Anyway, we're going to go through here. So, first of all, when we talk about differences in versions of games, I'm sure there are lots of you that remember, because you bought it the same way I did when it first came out. Ninja Gaiden 2 came out, first of all, on the Xbox 360. And it was a really interesting title. It was very playable. It had that incredible visceral combat of the first game. Nice, deep, technical, with a very large number of moves for all the characters. Now when I say all the characters, I'm talking about mainly the Sigma versions, because you play as different characters compared to the Xbox 360 version. Now there are a lot of fans that were really disappointed when Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 came out, because we had the toning down of parts of the violence. Now I say parts of it because it wasn't completely toned down. It was, let's say, cleaned up. Now when I first read that it was coming out on the PS3, because at the time I still have got an Xbox 360 and a PS3, and I heard about the improvements for the PS3 versions, the graphical polish and so on and so forth, and the altering of certain stages, the removal of certain things that were pointless or tedious, and just not very good. And I thought, brilliant, I can't wait. But then there was the inevitable but. The violence has been toned down, and I thought, no, you can't do that. You can't tone down the violence in a Ninja Gaiden game. That will just ruin it. And if you were to completely, it would have ruined it a bit. Because you can't have visceral combat with bladed weapons and not be able to have the realism, or close to realism, of slicing up monsters and evil bad people, if you can't have a dismemberment. So what they did is they toned it down, they kind of cleaned it up, and I'll explain why when I get to other ninja style enemies, because you can see it a bit better then. Have you noticed every time he uses a Nimpo ninja magic move, it really does sound like he's saying bugger off. It really truly does. I wonder if they put it in there on purpose just for a laugh. Because when you do the same thing in Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, also included on this collection, he says the word plonker. I will let you hear it when I show you a little snippet of Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge as well. But anyway, over to back to the improvements and changes. Now, in Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360, when you dismembered any enemy, you had gallons upon gallons of blood flowing from, you know, the sliced up bits of mangled corpses that you've just been responsible for killing. And there was just so much of it, forming literally oceans of blood on the ground, massive puddles. The stuff just gushed. It was just over the top. But then again, you know, it's a video game, so why not? But it was so satisfying and really visceral. It was absolutely brilliant. So to see it toned down on the Sigma version, I was a little bit heartbroken. But when I played it, I realized it's not really too bad. Now I'm giving you a very good example of it here. As you can see, when you slice up an enemy in the Sigma version, rather than seeing the remains of the severed limbs on the ground and blood gushing from every part, what you do get instead is the complete absence of limbs. But you still get to dismember your enemies. But rather than, you know, loads of blood pouring from everywhere, you get a very elegant purple mist. I think it's quite elegant. It's quite mystical. Because if you think about it, the enemies you're slashing up are mystical enemies. They're not sort of this world. You're slicing up demons and horrible demonic ninjas and all kinds of horrible things. And so that purple mist gives it a kind of an unusual mystical elegance. So it's not too bad. And you do still get to enjoy dismemberments, but you don't get limbs left on the ground. You know, you don't get arms, feet and heads and torsos. You get just the odd torso, and that's it. But that's just fine, because it still happens, so it does retain much of the important gameplay of these titles. Now the other improvement, first of all, you get to play as a variety of different characters. Now, you are primarily playing as Ryu here. In the 360 version, you play only as Ryu. But in the Sigma version, on the PS3, and the ones included in this collection, you get to play not only as Ryu, 90% of the time, but you get to play as Ayane, Rachel, and Momiji. They have a stage each. So you get a little bit of variety. The only thing that's not so good about playing as the other characters is that you don't get to upgrade their weapons like you do Ryu's. You get to use their weapons as is. They're already upgraded and very powerful, so all you need to do is get down to hacking and slashing. And the other improvement, a section and a boss was removed in the Sigma version here compared to the 360, and I'm kind of glad they did. Without going into like too much of spoiler territory, there is a boss in the original Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360 that is kind of like an underground cave-dwelling giant worm, and he's tedious, and there's a lot of waiting around before you can actually get a hit on him. And his particular level is rather bland, not graphically very good. So they got rid of it, and I'm glad they did. But, you know, those enemies were replaced by other enemies, one or two other bosses. In other words, it's all good stuff. So really, the game was cleaned up and polished up very nicely. And so, if you really want to get stuck into these games, if you haven't played them, don't fear. Do go for the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. A lot of fans are questioning, why didn't you put Ninja Gaiden Black in there, or the original Ninja Gaiden 2, so we had all the, you know, the original games in all their guts and gore glory. Well, I think if I were the developer, I would have done the same thing. I would have put these in here because they're the polished versions. They were just easier to port over, and they're still bloody good games. You can't really go wrong with them. And I am playing in the Venice level here. Probably because, yes, I am from Italy, and I did used to live and work in Venice for many years. And this is quite a good representation of it. I wouldn't say it's completely accurate, but it's not bad at all. Anyway, I'm going to show you a little bit of Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. And here we have Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. Now there's a couple of things to tell you about this title as well. A bit of backstory concerning
You have to find another route.
the release. First of all, in my opinion, the combat in this game is fantastic still. It's visceral, it's brilliant, it feels like it's even more polished than the previous two titles. It's really, really good and so satisfying. The graphics, particularly on the main character Ryu, have been improved, so there's more detail on him. He's got more rippling muscles.
No sign of target yet.
So the game is a little bit more modern. It's more cinematic. Now I'm going to tell you about a few differences between this one and an original Ninja Gaiden 3 release. Now it's been quite a few years now, and believe it or not, mind you, I've not really looked for it, but I've not seen a copy of the normal Ninja Gaiden 3 since then, since they've introduced the Razor's Edge version. So, differences. Sorry, I'm just enjoying this visceral combat. It's so bloody good. So, in the original Ninja Gaiden 3, I first bought it, I'm talking like just over a decade ago. About that time. About 10 years, I think. 9-10 years ago. And when I first played it, I thought the only thing good about this game is the combat. As usual, it's fantastic. The game's playable. It's really brilliant. There's tons and tons and tons of blood. A little bit over the top, like you want video games to be. However, there were no dismemberments, so you wondered where the blood was coming from. And that was a little bit of a downer for me. And the other thing, there was a lack of weapons. All Ryu had was his sword, and then I think a little bit later he got hold of the scythe, and that's it. And you thought, hey, hang on a minute, what about the other cool weapons from the previous titles? Where are they? So, and the other thing that really, really got to me was one of the cutscenes, an early cutscene in the game which portrayed Ryu as an evil, ruthless, nasty piece of work. He was really horrible, and you thought, hang on a minute, look, this guy is the world's most powerful ninja, but yet he's a just man. He fights for injustice. He rights wrongs. He fights bad guys and kills evil monsters. He protects mankind. So what the bloody hell's going on here? And where are those weapons? You know, I thought, hang on a minute, there's something not quite right. Now, in the original Ninja Gaiden 3, that cutscene that I'm talking about, Ryu ruthlessly kills a human that's begging for his life, saying he's got family, he's got kids. And when Ryu strikes him, the guy says, and rightly so, you're not human. And at that point, I got really pissed off. I still played the game. I still enjoyed the actual combat. But the good guy that was Ryu seemed like a distant memory. However, then all of a sudden, out on the shelves, and with little news of it, at least I didn't really read much at the time, you had Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which reintroduced quite a few of the weapons from the previous titles, tidied up the gameplay even further, and removed that horrible cutscene, and basically turned Ryu back into the good guy that he is. And I played that game through and I really loved it. And as you can see here, the combat is incredible. So quite a few weapons are back. You've got the staff, you've got the Kusarigama, the sickle and chain. I think you have the scythe as well. I do like the staff. I use that a lot. and the dismemberments are ever so welcome. So there you have it. Now, the settings in this game, this is another thing that is a little bit, makes it a bit less charming compared to the other titles. The settings, the environments were more of a mystical nature. I mean, they were set in Japan for a start. This one is kind of a modern day version of it, and you get foul-mouthed enemies as well. There's a lot of F-words in here. Not that I don't swear, because we all do. You try stubbing your toes and saying fiddlesticks. But then again, there's, you think, hang on a minute. Although Ryu fought lots of vile creatures in the first two games, there was a complete absence of swearing. For some reason, demons and horrible, nasty creatures that can talk, they don't seem to feel the need for swearing. But these guys are just full of the vilest language ever. It just changes things a bit for me. But anyway, the thing to focus on is the combat is fantastic. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil it any more for you. You need to play these games. What do I rate them? I'd say 8 out of 10. It's a fantastic collection. It's great that you don't have to dust off your PS3 or your Xbox 360. You can just, pick them up and play them. Well, mainly PS3 because of the Sigma titles. Yes, they perhaps should have included Ninja Gaiden Black and the original Ninja Gaiden 2 just to make it more visceral, but honestly, I like what they've done here. Just the ease of, playing them on your PS4 or your Xbox One. Done, sorted. And you get some fantastic combat and brilliant ninja action. So yes, 8 out of 10 definitely. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Until the next one. Ciao, ciao.